Princess Isabella's hidden life exposed, shocking secrets the Danish royal family doesn't want you to know. Welcome to B News. Behind the carefully curated public images and orchestrated royal appearances, Princess Isabella of Denmark is living a life that would shock most people who think they know the Danish royal family. Today, November 7, 2025, explosive new information is emerging about the 18-year-old princess that reveals a young woman navigating extraordinary pressures, secret struggles, and a future far more uncertain than the fairy tale narrative suggests. Princess Isabella, second child and eldest daughter of King Frederik X and Queen Mary, has largely remained in the shadows of her older brother Crown Prince Christian, who as heir to the throne receives the lion's share of public attention and scrutiny. But those who dismiss Isabella as simply the spare, or assume her life is one of effortless privilege are missing a far more complex and compelling story. What is Princess Isabella really like when the cameras stop rolling and the palace doors close? What challenges does she face that her parents desperately try to shield from public view? And how is this teenage princess preparing for a role in the monarchy that may look completely different from anything her ancestors experienced? The answers reveal a young woman of remarkable intelligence and sensitivity, grappling with questions of identity, purpose, and belonging in a world where her every move is scrutinized, her future is prescribed by birth, and the very institution she was born into faces existential questions about its relevance and survival. As we peel back the layers of palace protocol and public relations management, we discover that Princess Isabella's private life tells us as much about the future of European monarchy as any policy debate or constitutional reform. This is the untold story of a princess coming of age in the most challenging era the Danish royal family has faced in modern history. Before we reveal the intimate details of Princess Isabella's hidden world, you absolutely must subscribe to this channel immediately. We're bringing you exclusive insights into the private lives of royals that other channels are too afraid to cover. Smash that like button, hit the notification bell, and comment below with what you think Princess Isabella's biggest secret might be. This is the royal content you've been craving, authentic, revealing, and unlike anything you've seen before. Your support allows us to keep bringing you these insider stories. To understand Princess Isabella's private life and the secrets surrounding it, we must first establish who she is beyond the official royal biography and ceremonial appearances. Born on April 21, 2007, at Copenhagen's Rigshospitalet, Isabella Mary Donaldson became the second child of the then Crown Prince Frederik and Crown Princess Mary. From the moment of her birth, Isabella's life trajectory was largely predetermined by the circumstances of her arrival. Born second meant she would never be monarch, sparing her the intense pressure and scrutiny that would follow her older brother Christian, but also leaving her in a peculiar liminal space within the royal hierarchy. Throughout her childhood and adolescence, Isabella has been described by those who know her as intelligent, creative, and more introverted than her gregarious father or poised mother. Unlike Christian, who has been groomed for kingship since birth with carefully planned public appearances and official duties, Isabella has enjoyed relative obscurity, appearing at major royal events but largely allowed to develop away from constant public attention. However, this relative privacy has come at a cost that few outside the palace walls fully appreciate. Isabella has reportedly struggled with the contradictions inherent in her position. She is royal enough that her life is constrained by protocols, security concerns, and public expectations, yet not important enough to receive the clear sense of purpose and direction that comes with being heir to the throne. Palace insiders describe a young woman who has at times felt lost, questioning her role and value within both her family and the institution of monarchy. These existential questions have apparently intensified as Isabella has entered late adolescence and begun contemplating her future beyond the structured world of royal childhood. What will her adult life look like? What duties and expectations will define her days? Will she be expected to perform royal functions full-time, or will she have freedom to pursue independent interests and careers? The recent crisis surrounding King Frederik's proposed reforms has thrown these questions into sharp relief, with Isabella reportedly learning through media reports rather than family discussion that her father envisions a future where she would not be a working royal receiving public funding but would instead forge her own path outside the formal monarchy structure. The secrets of Princess Isabella's private life extend into deeply personal territory that the palace has worked hard to keep from public scrutiny. According to sources close to the royal family, Isabella has faced significant mental health challenges throughout her teenage years, struggling with anxiety and depression that have at times been severe enough to require professional intervention. These struggles are not unique. Research consistently shows that adolescence is a period of heightened vulnerability to mental health issues, and the additional pressures of royal life can exacerbate these challenges. However, the Danish royal family's approach to Isabella's mental health reveals much about both protective parental instincts and the ongoing stigma that surrounds psychological struggles even in progressive societies. Queen Mary, who has been a vocal advocate for mental health awareness and support in her public role, has reportedly been fiercely protective of Isabella's privacy regarding her personal struggles, believing that public knowledge of her daughter's challenges would add unhelpful scrutiny and pressure. King Frederik has apparently been more open to acknowledging these issues publicly, viewing transparency as both personally authentic and potentially helpful to other young people facing similar challenges. This disagreement between the king and queen about how to handle their daughter's mental health represents one of several parenting and strategic differences that have created tension in the royal marriage. Isabella's mental health struggles are reportedly connected to several factors: the intense pressure of royal life and constant awareness of being watched and judged, identity questions about who she is beyond her royal status, the challenge of forming authentic friendships when her position creates inherent power imbalances in relationships, and increasingly, anxiety about her future role and purpose. Friends of Isabella describe a young woman who is deeply thoughtful and self-aware, sometimes to the point of overthinking situations and interactions. She reportedly keeps detailed journals where she processes her experiences and emotions, and has expressed interest in psychology and philosophy as she tries to understand herself and the unusual circumstances of her life. The palace has arranged for Isabella to work with therapists and counselors who specialize in helping young people navigate unique pressures and identity formation challenges, though even these relationships are complicated by confidentiality concerns and the question of whether anyone can truly understand the specific experience of being a royal princess in the modern era. Education has been another area where Princess Isabella's private life reveals complexities often hidden from public view. Like her siblings, Isabella has attended both Danish public schools and the prestigious Herlufsholm boarding school, an educational path designed to provide relatively normal schooling experiences while also connecting the royal children with Denmark's elite families who traditionally attend such institutions. However, Isabella's relationship with formal education has reportedly been complicated and at times painful. Despite being intellectually gifted with particular strengths in languages and creative subjects, Isabella has struggled with the social dynamics of school environments where she is simultaneously privileged royalty and an object of intense peer curiosity and sometimes resentment. Classmates have reportedly struggled to treat her normally, with some being overly deferential while others have gone out of their way to challenge or diminish her, perhaps trying to prove they're not impressed by royal status. Isabella has confided to close friends that she often feels she can't win. If she performs well academically or socially, it's attributed to her privileged status and the advantages it provides. If she struggles, it's seen as evidence that royals are no better than anyone else despite their unearned privileges. This constant scrutiny and judgment has made normal adolescent social development extraordinarily difficult. The situation became more complicated when Herlufsholm, where Isabella and her siblings have attended school, became embroiled in scandal regarding historical hazing and bullying practices. While there's no evidence Isabella was directly involved in or victimized by these practices, the scandal created another layer of unwelcome attention and raised questions about the royal family's educational choices. Reports suggest that Isabella found the media attention surrounding the Herlufsholm scandal deeply distressing, feeling that yet another aspect of her life had become public fodder despite her having no control over the situation. The experience has apparently contributed to Isabella's growing desire for greater privacy and autonomy, and has sparked discussions within the royal family about whether the benefits of prestigious traditional schooling outweigh the costs of constant scrutiny and potential reputational risks. Looking ahead to higher education, Isabella faces complex decisions that most 18-year-olds don't encounter. Will she attend university in Denmark where she'll remain under intense media attention, or study abroad where she might find more anonymity but also face loneliness and disconnection from family and homeland? What should she study? Subjects that interest her personally, or fields that would be useful for a royal role? And will her educational choices be made freely, or will they be constrained by family expectations and public opinion about appropriate pursuits for a princess? Princess Isabella's romantic life, or more accurately, the lack thereof that she can pursue freely, represents another area where the constraints and secrets of royal existence become painfully apparent. At 18 years old, Isabella is at an age where most young people begin exploring romantic relationships, experiencing the joys and heartbreaks of dating, and learning about themselves through these intimate connections. However, For a princess, even these most personal experiences become complicated by security concerns, media interest, and the potential impact on the royal family's reputation. According to sources close to Isabella, she has expressed frustration that she cannot date normally, cannot download dating apps or meet people spontaneously at parties without security presence and the knowledge that any romantic interest will be instantly thrust into media spotlight and intense scrutiny. The palace has developed protocols for vetting potential romantic partners of royal family members, processes that Isabella reportedly finds both embarrassing and intrusive. Imagine having to introduce a crush to security personnel for background checks before you can even go on a proper date. These constraints have apparently led to Isabella maintaining extremely guarded relationships, reluctant to let anyone get close emotionally for fear of the complications that would follow. Friends describe her as romantic and interested in relationships, but also deeply worried about exposing anyone she cared about to the ruthless media attention and public judgment that would inevitably follow. There have been rumors of a secret relationship with a fellow student, someone Isabella allegedly connected with during her time at boarding school, but the palace has neither confirmed nor denied these reports, and Isabella herself has become skilled at deflecting personal questions in the rare interviews she gives. The situation highlights one of the most challenging aspects of modern royal life, the loss of privacy in matters that most people consider fundamental human experiences. While previous generations of royals might have accepted such constraints as simply the price of privilege, today's young royals like Isabella increasingly question whether the trade-offs are worthwhile. This questioning has reportedly become a source of tension within the royal family, with Isabella allegedly expressing doubts about whether she wants to live her entire life under such restrictions, unable to experience the freedoms her non-royal peers take for granted. As Princess Isabella stands on the threshold of adulthood in November 2025, her private life embodies the tensions and transitions facing European monarchies in the 21st century. She represents a generation of royals who have grown up with social media, global connectivity, and democratic values that emphasize individual choice and authenticity, values that often conflict with the inherited privilege, prescribed roles, and constant performance that define royal existence. The secrets of Isabella's private life, her mental health struggles, her questions about purpose and identity, her educational challenges, her constrained personal relationships, are not scandalous in the tabloid sense, but they are revealing about the human costs of maintaining hereditary monarchy in democratic societies that profess to value equality and individual freedom. King Frederik's controversial reform proposals, which would potentially release Isabella from formal royal duties and public funding, might be seen as his response to recognizing these costs and wanting to give his daughter greater freedom to define her own life. However, such changes also come with their own complications. What does it mean to be a princess without royal duties? How does one build an identity and career when your most distinctive characteristic is a title you didn't earn and may not want? These are questions that Princess Isabella is grappling with in her private moments, away from cameras and carefully staged public appearances. Those who know her describe a young woman of considerable strength and resilience, someone who is thoughtfully considering what kind of life she wants to build rather than simply accepting the path laid out by tradition. She has reportedly expressed interest in pursuing higher education in psychology or social work, fields that would allow her to help others while also understanding herself better. She dreams of eventually finding a romantic partner who loves her for who she is rather than what she represents, and building a family on her own terms. Whether these dreams are achievable within the context of royal life, or whether pursuing them will require Isabella to step away from the monarchy in ways that would be personally painful and publicly controversial, remains to be seen. What is clear is that Princess Isabella's private life, with all its struggles, secrets, and searching, represents the very human reality behind the royal facade, reminding us that tiaras and titles cannot insulate anyone from the fundamental challenges of growing up, finding purpose, and learning to be authentically oneself in a world that constantly tries to define who you should be. Now we want your perspective on Princess Isabella's situation. Do you think she should embrace traditional royal duties or forge her own independent path outside the monarchy? Should the media give royal children more privacy during their formative years, or does the public have a right to know about the lives of those supported by taxpayer funds? And if you were in Princess Isabella's position, what would you do? Accept the constraints of royal life for the privilege and platform it provides, or pursue freedom even if it meant stepping away from your family's institution? Share your thoughtful responses in the comments below. We value nuanced discussion about the complex realities of modern royal life. If this revealing look into Princess Isabella's hidden world resonated with you, show your support by subscribing to B News, hitting that like button, and sharing this video with anyone interested in the real stories behind royal headlines. Turn on notifications so you don't miss our continuing coverage of the Danish royal family as they navigate these unprecedented changes.